Mm-hmm.
Happy Thanksgiving. You know, my mom was all about food, and her cornbread stuffing was what everybody remembered about her. And when my mom passed away, we made this wonderful cookbook right here for the love of food with all of her recipes in it. And we don't know how this happened, but the cornbread stuffing recipe is not in the book. So I've had a couple of requests for the cornbread stuffing recipe. And as far as I know, it's not written down anywhere. I think it's just in my head. So I didn't really have time to write it down, but I can actually talk you through it. Like a typical Cajun cook, I'm just gonna tell you how to do it. So here we go. According to my mom, always the very first thing you do is you make a pan of cornbread and a pan of biscuits. And that's what we've got here, cornbread and biscuits. Now, my biggest dilemma right now is that I can't remember what kind of cornbread I was supposed to use. The first year after my mom passed away, I was in the grocery store and I was using I bought the sweet cornbread, the Jiffy cornbread in the little blue box. This one, this is the one I use. And this sweet little grandmother in the store behind me said, "Oh, sweetie, you're not going to be using that sweet cornbread, are you?" Kind of went into a panic because I didn't have anybody to ask, but I use the sweet cornbread. So I don't know whether I'm altering the recipe from my generation, but we use the sweet cornbread around here. So we started out, you make a pan of cornbread and a pan of biscuits, and I'll ultimately in a few minutes crumble all that up. Now, the other thing that I did last week was I made my own chicken stock. And what you do is buy a large package of chicken wings and boil down the chicken wings with some onion and celery and salt and a little bit of chicken bouillon. I like the better than bouillon. And you make your own chicken stock. And so that's what I have here. It's been frozen, and so I just defrosted it for today. And this is the chicken stock that we're going to use to wet everything down. And then after I finish the chicken stock, I actually I deboned the chicken. I took all the bones out and I saved all of the chicken. So the chicken is actually going to be part of the stuffing as well. Okay. So here's the ingredients here. We've got cornbread, biscuits, celery, and note I'm chopping the celery. I'm not chopping it up too fine. I'm leaving it kind of chunky and big because you want it to have some texture to it. It gets too mushy if you grind it up too small. I've got green onions, and these did get ground up probably a little bit too small because Toby helped me with them last week and he kind of pressed the blender button a little too much, but that's okay. That was really sweet. So yeah, right now I'm just chopping the celery. And let's see, what are the other ingredients? So we've got the chicken, and the other meat that's going to go into it is Jimmy Dean sausage. And if you can find the one with sage, that one is preferable, but if you can't find the one with sage, you can just buy the Jimmy Dean sausage and you can add your own sage seasoning. And I have not been able to find the one with sage for quite some time. So, also, Jimmy Dean is the only sausage that I use. I don't know, like, probably one of the first times I made this on my own, I was having trouble finding Jimmy Dean, and I was offered at the grocery store like an alternative brand. I wouldn't use it because I just didn't want to alter the flavor. Okay, I think everything is prepped, and in a minute I'm going to start putting it all together. So I am cooking down, I'm starting by cooking down the pork sausage, and took a couple minutes. And I was going to drain this off, but actually there's not even any fat on it to drain off. It's pretty clean. And the pork sausage is just about cooked, and it's nice and crumbled. I don't know if you can see that. And I'm going to add in the celery now. And let that start cooking down so that it can get soft. But again, I left the celery kind of big so that it would be crunchy and that there'd be a little bit of texture to it. A lot of Thanksgiving foods are really soft and bready and mushy, and so if you can leave chunks of some things to actually add some texture to it, it can help. While that's cooking down, I'm going to add in the green onions. And these are, this is 2 bunches of green onions that we chopped in the food processor last week. And let me get those in. Oh, it's starting to smell good. Okay, the sausage, the pork sausage is cooking down, and the celery is getting soft. So now I'm going to add the chicken. This is from the chicken wings that I cooked earlier in the week to make the chicken stock. Add in the sage that we talked about, because the pork sausage didn't have any sage. You really want that sage flavoring in it. Smell it, see? Smelling very Thanksgiving-y in here. Okay, so it's been about 5-6 minutes now. The pork sausage is all cooked down. The celery is soft but still crunchy a little. The chicken is heated through and through. And now what we're gonna do is we put the sage in already. We seasoned it with the green onion and the sage, and now we're going to start adding the biscuits and the cornbread. And this is where the magic starts happening. Make sure that's all crumbled up. And a mountain of cornbread here. And still have the fire on, but you know, at this point I think I'm just going to turn it off because everything is cooked. And what we're going to do is start adding the chicken stock to it. I'm going to add the chicken stock slow because I don't want it to be too watery. So I'm going to put the first container in and wet it down. It's easier to make it wetter. If you make it too wet at first, you're going to have a problem. So you want to withhold some. Oh yeah. Alright. Looks like we are going to need the second container. Made enough here. Feed a small army. But that's good. I like that. What I do is I make this much at Thanksgiving and I put it into airtight containers and I put them in the freezer and then I have them for Christmas. So I don't have to go through this whole process again at Christmas time. So just keep stirring, keep blending it together. It's going to keep taking on. The liquid's going to be soaking into the bread. So I'm going to keep adding in the liquid. And if you need more liquid, my mom always said you could add some milk to it. But I think what I'm going to do if I need more liquid is I'm just going to make some more chicken stock with, I use better than bouillon. So, there we go. And this is about what it's supposed to look like here. See that? And the real test is, let's make sure it tastes like what it's supposed to taste like. Oh, c'est bon. Happy Thanksgiving.